Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. In this video, I'm going to be showing you my kind of once a year vegetable garden prep. I have a small space over here dedicated to vegetables. One thing I want to talk about on this channel and get through to folks on this channel is you don't have to have all your vegetables together in a vegetable garden. You can have them anywhere in your landscape that you would like, as long as you're getting enough sun. Which leads me to the reason that I have a vegetable garden. This is pretty much the only space in my back garden here in Raleigh, North Carolina, Zone 7B, that gets enough sunlight all day long. The sun comes up and just stays on this spot all day long during the summertime. That's the reason they're all congregated over here together. If I had more sunlight in the other parts of the back garden space here, I would have them spread out all over the place. My fall vegetables, I might always kind of congregate somewhere together because things like lettuce and kale and broccoli, the rabbits really like. And so maybe those would always be congregated together. But the rest of it, I would put wherever in the landscape. I do have basically a rabbit protection fence around this space for my fall garden, which has just come out. I'm later in the process this year on all of this because it stayed warm all the way through December. Got the best broccoli I've ever gotten, honestly. Kale, lettuce was still right into early January, still producing. It's finally been killed back, so it's time to do this. And my first step here is going to be taking down this rabbit fence that I had, to prevent the rabbits from enjoying my fall vegetables. This plastic fence is actually 7 feet tall and it's folded over. And it was folded over when I received it originally from Amazon. And so it's 3.5 feet tall, and it works perfect for what I'm doing, from what I'm using it for. Those of you who have deer issues, I highly recommend this fence. This is, I don't know, at least 4 years now. A couple years at the old house and 2 years here at the new house in Raleigh, and this thing is still in great shape. And it's really abused. I mean, it's got all these sharp surfaces over here to cut it up, and it has still stayed in great shape. So highly recommend this 7 foot tall deer fence. My next item is to get my irrigation lines out of the garden here, and I have this 1/4 inch drip line running through my garden space. And when I go in here to weed this and do big jobs, I just pull them out just like this, and they're easy to just lay back on top after I'm done. And wrap around, everywhere they need to go. But very, very straightforward. And again, just lay them to the side. That's all I do. The only reason these hoops are on this end of the garden is because to have a place to connect that rabbit fence. It's not the most decorative thing in the world. I will upgrade this at some point to have some sort of structure that goes over it that also looks good in the garden. This is just a top rail from a chain link fence, and I have a pipe bender that I bend them with. I've got an old video on how to bend the top rail of chain link fence into greenhouses if you want to, if you want to look at that. The other end, where the cattle panels are, I'm going to have my early spring garden just like I always have, and then I'm going to move those cattle panels down to this end to flip my tomatoes over to the other end, just to rotate them. Can't rotate them very far, but I'm going to rotate them to the upper side of the garden. I say upper side, it's probably about 6 inches of grade in this whole in this whole space. The next step is to get in here and break out all these all this henbit, chickweed, all of the old broccoli and kohlrabi and all the other plants. I had some okra here that was 12 feet tall this year, and if you just wait long enough, it comes up very easily. It would have been really hard to get this out like 2 months ago, but the cold has done me a favor. But look at the 2.5 inch or 2 inch diameter okra. Again, it was about 12 feet tall. All of this stuff from here will end up in my compost pile. I use the shuffle hoe, action hoe. This thing's got a lot of different names, and it makes pretty quick work of cutting anything off out here. You can kind of use it with a swinging motion to pull up things like broccoli, like this, your old plants, and you don't have to bend over and do it. But it makes pretty quick work of just pulling them up right up by the root. And that process knocks most of the soil off of them. at the same time. So we don't want our soil leaving the garden really. But again, it just cuts them right off, and then a little bit of a shake pulls those roots off. The weedier parts of the garden, where just the chickweed and henbit are, I can just run this hoe through here and cut them off. And if I go through here several times, it'll knock the soil off the roots of them. If I run into anything more solid, I just do that more swinging motion. And that's it. I gotta go across this whole garden space and break all this stuff loose, especially before it sees itself. This henbit is in the growth stage right now, but it hasn't flowered yet. Once it flowers and produces seed, although, as you can see, there's already plenty of seed out here. I'm really not worried about getting every weed out of here right this minute. The ground's actually a little bit frozen, and I've loosened it all. I'm going to put some compost over the top of this. This is my next step, and I'm using a flat rake just to pull up the chunkier bits that I dislodged with the shovel hoe. A couple things here I completely missed, but that's pretty much it. I want to get a close-up of the soil because this was kind of just a clay, just had a clay base. The very first time that this was worked, it was tilled, okay? And so I tilled compost down into that existing clay soil the first time, and then each subsequent time, compost has been added. This will be maybe the third time compost has been added since the original tilling. And look how far we can go down now before we get into any real clay right there. So that's about 4 inches now of good quality topsoil out here. So this has been got a plastic tag here. That's been the entire point of this project, is each time I add some more compost. I haven't had material to produce my own compost. This year will be different. I have so many more plants, so much more material in the landscape that as things come out, as things get pruned back, I'll be able to produce my own compost. So hoping this is the last time I actually have to buy any compost. I got some a garden soil compost blend from Home Depot. Time to put it out. It's actually a little bit frozen, well below freezing this morning, and I had those in the back of my pickup. They're a little frozen. I don't think they're going to spread out as well as I had hoped. I'll come back out here later, and once they're more willing, I'll spread them out with the rake. Flat rake works perfect for this job. Again, all I'm doing is burying this soil. I have not gotten up all the weeds. There were so many. I have my shovel hoe available. Any weeds pop up through this in the next couple, 2-3 weeks before I replant, I'll quickly chop off their heads and their roots. Chunky frozen compost. This is mostly a composted wood product. It looks like, never used it before. Looks great actually. Good material for this to top dress with. Obviously some of this will get mixed in a bit as you plant, but this is it. I kind of stay off the beds except for, a bit of weeding and the one time I plant my vegetables. But if you're subscribed to the channel, you'll see I'll start doing cool season vegetable starts right around this first or second week of February. That stuff will go in the ground in middle March. By that point, I'll be doing my summer vegetable starts. So that's pretty much it. Get it cleaned out. The first time, again, compost was tilled in. And since then, I don't do any tilling. I think it's very disruptive to the system. You're best to just basically use the compost like mulch. And each time you're planting, each time the plants are rooting down in the ground, it's all incorporating, it's all mixing in, and it's becoming better and better and better each time, each season that I do this. This is about maybe 1.5 inches of material, something like that that I just placed on the top of it. As always, I want you to see simple solutions work the best in gardening. This is just compost without fertilizer in it. It's actually difficult to find. I'll be honest with you. When you go to a lot of the stores, almost everything they're selling has fertilizer in it. Don't need the fertilizer, just need the compost. I'll put a small amount of organic fertilizer on my vegetable starts when they go in the ground. That's it. Thanks for following along with the channel, guys.